Hey everyone, it's me again, Yvonne Emil Elizondo. I've been away for a few weeks and taking care of some personal stuff. I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who's reached out and sent some blessings and positive prayers and some really, really good juju, some energy work that was sent our way. So I would really just want to say a big thank you to everyone. My kiddo is feeling so much better. The astrology hit both of us pretty hard the last 2 weeks, but I think we're stepping out of the cycle. So yay, thank you. All right, let's choose a card just to give us a message for the week. This is not necessarily the astrology part of this session, but this is a card, an oracle card, just to give us a message to start off with and maybe something to remember throughout the week. All right, choosing. Oh, speaking of healing, look at that. I tell you, there are no coinkydinkies, no coincidences talking about healing. And here we go. All right, so healing energy. Well, and again, this is the Angel Guide Oracle deck by Kyle Gray. So the message is, asking yourself, where in my life do I need to bring some healing energy in? It could be into a relationship. It could be, your physical body. It could be your emotional body. It could be your finances. It could be, your career. So something just to think about this week. So see where you need some healing energy, bringing that healing energy in. All right, let's tap into the astrology for Sunday, the 25th to Saturday, the May the 1st. Okay, I do want to start off by saying that we have an extremely, extremely powerful full moon coming up tomorrow. I think it's around 10:37 p.m. Central Standard Time. So adjust your time zone for that. But this is a super, super powerful moon. It's not only what we would consider a pink moon, but it is relatively what that means is that the moon is the closest to the Earth. And so it appears bigger, the energy is bigger, we can feel that gravitational pull, not only on the oceans and on the waterways, but the animals can feel it. And guess what? We can feel it too. So let's tap into that full moon and then we'll work day by day. But what I do want to show you is the intensity of this full moon, and there's several other components that are happening at the same time. The first place that I want to tap into before we jump into the full moon is this guy right here. Okay, this is Pluto right there. I love using this tool. Pluto in Capricorn. Now, Pluto's been in Capricorn for some time. It will stay in Capricorn until I think it's 2024. So it's not a fast moving planet. Obviously, it's at the edges of our solar system, and therefore it moves really slow. But the reason I'm bringing Pluto up at this point is because if you notice this little S right there, that means that Pluto is stationed, right? So Pluto is stationed. Now, when a planet is stationed, it is extremely powerful. It is not moving. Let me explain that real quick with the retrograde once again. So planets don't actually move backwards when we refer to them as retrogrades. From our perspective on Earth, because of the elliptical, the planets seem to be moving forward, and then they come to a stop, and then they start moving backwards. I mean, physics doesn't allow that to happen, but from our perspective, it does. And so in astrology, what that means is that the energy is moving forward. And then when there's a standstill, there's a super powerful intensity to that planet as it starts to slowly move backwards, right? Or retrograde. And so retrograde is a whole different energy that we're going to tap into next week. But for right now, Pluto has been stationed yesterday. Let's try that again. Saturday is when it stopped. So that means that this Plutonic energy in Capricorn is extremely strong. So what does that mean, right? Pluto in and of itself refers to the breakdown of things, getting to the foundation, right? It's about, some people refer to it as transformation. It's the Lord of the underworld. It's Hades. So it's probably not going to bring in some fluffy, peaceful kind of, energy, it is intensification. And in Capricorn, it's intensification of those laws and those rules and responsibility and climbing that mountain, right? So there's an intensification right now. Once it starts to move retrograde, starts to backwards, once it starts to move retrograde, then that energy could be interpreted as internalized or as that Plutonic energy not functioning the way it's supposed to. So there's a variety of ways of interpreting it, and I'll get to that next week. But for now, there is that intensity in Capricorn about responsibility. Capricorn is not a necessarily fun type of energy all the time. Okay, Capricorn here. Sometimes we're more serious. So you may feel that there's an intensity this week of seriousness, of intense emotions, of intensity of trying to accomplish things, and maybe forgetting about the fun and not really tapping into the light side of life, right? So there's a whole intensity that we may feel this week. All right, so now I'm going to share my screen, and I want to focus in on the full moon because this does happen again on Monday evening. All right, so with this full moon, we always look at two places when we're having a full moon or a new moon, and we look at the full moon, right? So here's the full moon in Scorpio. Okay, so there's Scorpionic energy, and then if you have not already noticed, look at all of these planets, oopsie, all of these planets in Taurus that are being pulled by the moon, right? So, and I'm going to refer to each of those in just a little bit, but there are a significant amount of planets that are being pulled by the moon. Now, the other aspect in this is Saturn right here in Aquarius. Again, I'm going to explain this in just a little bit, is Kung Fu fighting once again with the moon. So there's an abrasive outward expression. And then Saturn is also tapping into all of these planets in Taurus. And this is why I'm referring to this being a super powerful full moon. So not only is it closer, not only do we have the intensity of Pluto stationed in Capricorn, but we also have all of these tug of warring between the moon and Scorpio and all of those planets in Taurus. We'll talk about Saturn in just a little bit. So that Scorpionic energy is about retreating, right? So you may find yourself, I already felt it. I already got into my feels about one of my friends, and and I felt abandoned, and it was a hot mess early this morning, right? But that Scorpionic moon energy, we can usually start to feel it a good 30 hours before the full moon, and about 24, maybe even 48 hours after the full moon. And so there's this energy of really tapping into that deep well of emotion, right? Scorpionic moon energy is that deep well. There is no superficiality about it. We are going to go all the way to the bottom of the well. And if we can go in further, we will with our emotions. So there's an intensification of that. It's about loyalty. Betrayal is not accepted very easily. It is about really getting down to the psychological component of those interactions that we're having with other people. And when the moon is in Scorpio, it likes to retreat because it taps in and it's like, is it safe? Is it not safe? Oh, too much. I'm heading back out. Oh, wait, let me try it again. So there's a constant retreating. So right now is going to be a good time for actually taking that time to retreat, taking that time to move back. It's okay to be in your feels. You don't have to be in the mix when you're in your feels, right? But it's a good time of tapping out and giving yourself some space. Now, let me share with you the second part of this full moon because it is also very important. So now we have the full moon, right? So we have the moon over here in Scorpio, okay? And it is opposing not only the sun, but Uranus, Venus, and Mercury, all of that energy in Taurus. Now, what Taurus energy means, Taurus is a fixed sign, and so is Scorpio. So you have a lot of fixed energy. Scorpio is water, Taurus is earth. So it's fixed earth. It's not earth that moves very quickly. It doesn't get up and move very quickly, but once it does, it gets going. It's the bull energy. But Taurus, when you have Taurus and Uranus in Taurus, we want a sense of freedom, right? There's a sense of freedom that comes. There's a change in how we connect to our environment, how we connect to our home, how we connect to food, for example. But Uranus is a longer moving transit, so it's going to be in there, I think, for 2 more years. Then what we experience is Venus tapping into that freedom energy of Uranus, and we had Mercury just passed it. And so that thought perception, the thinking, the communication. So if you put that all together, there is a sense of freedom. There's a sense of wanting to break free, maybe finding unique ways of connecting with other people or unique ways of perceiving, okay, or communicating. And then we also have the sun in there, right? The sun in Taurus is about how am I going to use my energy? Well, I'm going to use it very wisely because Taurus is not an energy that uses or misuses their resources. They're very tied into the value of their resources, whether it's money, food. I keep coming back to food because food is such a big thing for Taurus. And I'm Taurus rising, and I got to tell you, I could eat a whole like pie if I had to. I didn't have to if I wanted to, but I stopped myself. But anyways, so the whole idea of that Taurus fixed energy is that now you have these two opposing forces of being in your feels deep in that water of emotion with the moon. And then you have that Taurus earth energy that says, yeah, I'm not going to go anywhere. So it's almost as if your relationships, because Venus is involved in this, may require some releasing and some space and finding different and unique ways of bringing that component of comfort and safety and honesty and loyalty to relationships. So that would be the main focus. Now, the third part of this full moon that I definitely feel is important is this whole stuff going on with Saturn, right? So Saturn right here, Saturn is in Aquarius. It's at home in Aquarius. It does really, really, really well, okay, in Aquarius. And so we have Saturn pulling in the moon in Scorpio and pulling in all of these planets in Taurus. Now, before I get into that, I just want to express that Saturn in Aquarius will be and has been for this entire year mostly in a square to Uranus in Taurus. So let me explain what that's about. So when Saturn is tapped in, Saturn in Aquarius is about establishing the structure for the future, but it's about maintaining those boundaries and that structure and that tradition, okay, and how we move that forward. However, Uranus in Taurus, okay, is about freedom and how we bring freedom to the grounded sense of moving forward. So now we have this abrasive expression of tradition versus new, old versus moving forward. And we can see that, and sometimes in that square, there is an external expression of potential violence, abrasiveness, discord, really not being in tune with one another. We see this diversity of, hey, let's keep the status quo versus, hey, let's move forward and create new opportunities or new, ways of doing things. So we have this tug of war going on. And so for this full moon, what that means is that may come into play when you're looking at those relationships and how you're connecting or how you're communicating with other people, right? So once again, we have the full moon here in Scorpio, and it's, trying to make its way all through this Taurus energy that I just talked about. But now here comes Saturn, and now you may find that in your relationships, okay, maybe you are unable to express those needs or those wanting to change, those changes that you're wanting to, bring into your relationship. You may feel that there is that challenge in how you're feeling versus how you're wanting to move forward versus, you're thinking and feeling like, well, I should keep my ancestry or my past still in tune. And Saturn is like, yeah, hold on to that for just a second. And then Uranus on the other side is like, no, I want to break free. Please make me free. And Saturn's like, yeah. And now we have this tug of war in the component of how you're connecting with others. Ta-da! And this is the energy of the full moon. And so this is really the energy that we're going to be working with this week. My suggestion to you would be, hey, the full moon is about the time of release, right? This is when we do our magic. This is when we release out to the world, out to the universe. The new moon is about setting those intentions. I never do magical work during a new moon or a dark moon, especially because there isn't any light to shine and to guide my way. So during the full moon, it is about releasing, okay? It's either letting go of those restrictions, Saturn, that are no longer benefiting the freedoms of your relationships or your connections to other people or your connections to money, because Venus represents money, or your connections to how you want to establish your, home or your, communication in Taurus. And so we went from very quickly moving action at the beginning of April because most of the planets were in um, not most of them, but the personal ones were in Aries, which is fire moving forward. Now all of a sudden they're tapping into this Taurus energy that's like, whoa, fixed and slow moving. And so there's this quick change that happens in the month of April. So again, my suggestion for this full moon would be release what no longer is working for you, but tap into those opportunities for, hey, I also want to set my magic out to the world for what I want to bring in, right? So look at the new moon intentions that you set a few weeks ago and see where you are in progress and see how you can release to encompass all of that to come and manifest into your life. So anyhow, this is the gist of this week. Thursday, we do tap into some really more pretty energy because that Plutonic energy in Capricorn connects lovely with Mercury. So this may be a time, on Thursday and Friday where we start to, hey, let's think of, some powerful ways of structured ways of, communication and attempting to establish that groundedness for your relationships, especially. And again, relationships could be intimate relationships, friendships, familiar, family, business, anything of that nature. All right, everyone, I hope this has been helpful. Please remember you can reach out to me. I am at Spiritual Essence Transpersonal Counseling. That's spiritual-essence.com, or you can find us at Witchy Gypsies. Again, I've been missing in action for a few weeks, but hopefully we are on track, and I am totally tapping into this new moon because it falls in my relationship house. Who knows? Maybe I'll start dating soon. Maybe. All right, everyone. Have a great week. Blessed be.